Hello, this is Benjamin from English Classes Online. In today's lesson, we are going to look at Duolingo English speaking. Our focus will be on understanding the question types. We want to look at the various types of questions that occur in the speaking aspect of the Duolingo English test. Now, let's get started with a quick look at the agenda for today's lesson. We have 3 items. Number 1, what is Duolingo English speaking all about? 2, question types. 3, how to answer each question type. Now, let's take this one by one. What exactly is Duolingo English speaking all about? Now, Duolingo speaking is that part of the Duolingo English test that requires you to speak for a given period of time. It's about speaking. Of course, you have 4 language skills in the test. 4 language skills that are evaluated: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And questions are set on these various aspects of language proficiency. The overall aim of the test is to evaluate your level of proficiency. It is a proficiency test like any other English test, such as IELTS, TOEFL, and others. Now, the Duolingo English speaking is designed to test your ability to communicate in spoken English. Your speaking skill can be tested in this test through different speaking question types, and that is why we are going to look at the various types of speaking questions that you are likely to find in this test. You can be given a written prompt or an audio prompt, and you are asked to speak on the given topic or whatever you are asked to speak about. And you are given a specified period of time to talk about it. In some cases, the prompt shows for a given number of seconds before the start of the recording. And during that time you are given, you are expected to read or listen to the prompts and then consider it and plan before speaking. Generally, the speaking test is designed to test your speaking skills. That is your ability to express your ideas clearly. All right? So you must make sure that you speak naturally and confidently in line with the question prompt. Whatever you are asked to do, make sure you stay on topic and talk about it and show that you are proficient in the use of the English language. Now, let's look at the 5 types of speaking questions. Number 1, read aloud questions. In this type of question, you are given 20 seconds to respond to the prompt. And this type of question occurs 3 to 7 times in the entire test. It is designed to evaluate your comprehension and conversation skills, all right? Because reading is about comprehension, speaking is about conversation, all right? Question type number 2, speak about the photo. Now, speak about the photo can also be called photo description or picture or image description. You are given an image, a picture, or a photograph, and you are asked to speak about it. All right, that's the type of question in question type number 2. And you are given 90 seconds to speak about that, about the given image. And this type of question occurs usually once in the test, and it is meant to test your conversation and production skill. You see, when you speak, you are producing language. and you are engaging in a conversation. There are certain sub-scores, areas in which your skills are evaluated and you are giving scores. And it is important that your performance level is high so that you can score high in this test. Now, question type number 3 is read, then speak. Two things are involved. You are given a written prompt, you read it, and then you are given a little time to think about it and organize your thoughts, then you speak. 90 seconds are given, and this type of question occurs only once, all right? And it is meant to test your conversation and production skills, all right? Then question type number 4 is listen, then speak. It is similar to read, then speak. The difference is that you are given an oral or audio prompt, all right? Instead of the written question appearing on the screen, you listen to it and then you speak in response to what you hear. So listen, then speak. You are given 90 seconds to speak. And then this type of question occurs usually 2 times in the entire test, and it is meant to test your conversation and production skills. The last is question number 5, and it is the speaking interview. 1 to 3 minutes are allowed, and this type of question occurs only once. It is ungraded, which means you are not awarded scores, but this is also super important because what you are going to say about the topic you are giving will be recorded, and the recording will be sent to the university that you are applying to. So they will be able to look at your linguistic performance, and judge your language skills, how you speak, and also look at your personality, how you express your opinion about different issues, all right? So that is really about question type number 5, the speaking interview. And of course, you are given the speaking sample. And of course, when we look at the reading question types, we will look also at the the writing. Okay, we will also look at the written type, because you are also going to, have a writing sample. Okay. Now let's proceed and begin to look at these question types one by one. The first one is read aloud. In read aloud, you are asked to record yourself saying the statement below. And if you can look at the infographic on the screen, and you find that you are asked to read something that is written there, and then you say the statement. Okay, now there are certain tips that you need in order to answer this type of question correctly. Number 1, you are expected to read the question only once, read the statement only once, and you need to use clear pronunciation. Articulate the speech sounds in each word, in each English word in that statement quite clearly. All right, and then use the appropriate intonation. Intonation is the rising and falling of the voice, of the pitch of your voice when speaking. For example, this is a statement you are giving here, and you need to know that intonation has a grammatical function in the sense that statements are said with a falling tone. I want to be certain that they have understood me. You cannot say, I want to be certain that they have understood me. You can't, say this statement with a rising tone. You say it with a falling tone. Now, in addition to that, you have to watch and see if the statement you are giving has certain punctuation marks, such as a comma or any other punctuation marks that will require you to pause at a point, or probably if that can affect your intonation. For example, certain complex sentences might be spoken with what we call the combined intonation pattern, such as, falling, rising, all right, or rising, falling. When I was returning from the office, I saw a lion. See, there you have a combined intonation pattern there. So you look for the quotation mark, the punctuation marks as some signposts that might guide you to know exactly how to say what you have been given to say. Now make sure you read it first in your head. Don't forget you are given only 20 minutes to tackle this particular type of question. So you don't have enough time, but make sure you quickly say the statement in your head first before you say it aloud. Then don't panic if you make a mistake, because you are not allowed to begin to record all over. So just move on if you discover you have made a mistake. Now, so let's look at the statement before us. I want to be certain that they have understood me. Say it as naturally as possible, and don't speak as somebody who memorized something. By the way, the statement you are giving appears on the screen, so you can look at it as you say the statement. So that makes it easier. Now let's look at the second question type, which is speak about the photo. Here you are given a photo, you are given a picture, and you are asked to describe aloud the image given below. Now, first look at the photograph. You can see there are 4 people in the photograph, and in front of them, you can see what looks like a beach. So what you need to do is to figure out what the picture is about. You are given 90 seconds in all, and you have a minimum of 30 seconds to speak, which means you are not expected to speak less than 30 seconds. It must be more. And then you are given up to 90 seconds. So the ideal thing here is that you should try to speak for as long as you can. Because one of the criteria for awarding scores to you in the Duolingo English Test is fluency. And according to Duolingo, fluency is the volume of words you can speak within a short period of time. So the more you speak within the given time, the more fluent you are considered to be. So that's why you should aim at between 70 to 90 seconds, okay? So that is important. Make sure you do not attempt to re-record yourself or your answer, because you are not allowed to record a second time. So if you discover you have made a mistake, don't worry about it. Just move on. Now, the first thing you do in order to describe the picture well is to first observe the picture and understand what it is about before speaking. And then figure out the structure. There are no hard and fast rules as to where you begin, but it is ideal that you figure out, you can start from the objects immediately in front of you and then speak about the ones in front of them, what we call the foreground and the background. You can first talk about the objects in the foreground, and then you move on until you get to the objects in the background, that is the extreme. All right, so when you look at this, you don't have to just mention the objects, because that is what they call image labeling, and it doesn't win you sufficient marks. what you are expected to do is to speak about the photo here, means talk about what is happening in the photo, and you can become hypothetical and reach certain conclusion about what you think the objects in the photo are doing. If there is motion, you can see 4 people. Are they walking to the beach? And who are they? And what do you think they are going there to do? So you can imagine, you can use your imagination and arrive at some brilliant conclusion about the pictures. That is really very important. And then avoid using filler words such as, these are all, they are all mark killers. They deprive you of the needed marks because they are signs that you are not a fluent English speaker. Now, fluency is about the natural flow of your speech, uninterrupted by, a pause or unnecessary, use of filler words, okay? So now you must avoid that and let your speech flow naturally. And the only way you can actually attain to this level of proficiency is through consistent practice. Practice, practice, practice. Because as the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Now let's go to the next. But before then, let me just give you an example as to how you can describe the photo here. You can begin by saying, this photograph shows 4 people walking to the beach. It seems that they are one family, and the adult seems to be a mother taking her 3 kids to the beach. She is wearing a long dress. Now you have been able to describe the people in the picture. Then you go beyond them and say, right in front of them, I can see a sandy beach, and beyond that, in the background, there is a blue sky. You have actually described the major objects you can see there. That is a good example of how you can describe a photo. You can talk about a photo. I want you to see it as simple as ABC, and do not get yourself worked up. Just relax and think about what it is about and talk about it as naturally as you can. What is important is that you can articulate your thoughts, you can express your thoughts in the English language. Now, the next question type is read, then speak. Here you are given a written prompt. You can see in the infographic on the screen, you are asked to talk about a hobby or activity that you enjoy doing. And one thing that simplifies this question for you is that you are given 4 different questions that help to organize the structure of your speech. So you know where to begin and where to end. You can begin naturally with the first question, what is it? But then with your knowledge of essay writing generally, you know that when you write a speech, you begin with a general statement about the topic. The topic here is the hobby, a hobby or activity that you enjoy. You can begin naturally by saying, there are a number of hobbies that I enjoy, and it is really difficult to say which of them I enjoy most because I enjoy all of them. However, there is one particular hobby that I have got so used to that I enjoy doing it more often than the rest. You see, you have zeroed in on one particular activity. And then you mention it. You have responded to question 1. And you say, it is singing, all right? Or it is writing, or it is reading, or whatever it is, just name it. What is it? You have mentioned it, but before you mentioned it, you have given some general information about this hobby. And then you can respond to the second question, how long have you been doing it? You can say, well, although I developed interest in singing right from my childhood when we used to sing during our family devotion and also at school. I really took singing more seriously when I was 25 years. And that was when I gave my life to Christ. For example, something happened, or when I became a member of a choir or anything, so just say it, but you can mention how long by maybe talking about your age, and you can specifically say that, it has been, about 15 years since you actually developed very deep interest in this hobby. Just mention how long you have been doing it, all right? Or you can say you have been doing it since childhood, although your interest in it increased more since 15 years ago or something. Then who do you do it with? You can say maybe members of your school, of your class, or members of your choir, or people in your congregation, or members of your musical band, if you have one. Just mention who you do it with. It's as simple as that. And then why is it important to you? Probably you have actually developed this hobby into a kind of career that you are pursuing right now. That is why it is important to you. Okay, so just mention why it is important to you. And then don't forget that you are given 90 seconds to speak about this, and you have a minimum of 30 seconds, which means, as I said earlier, you should aim to speak for at least between 70 to 90 seconds, okay? Now, you have 20 seconds within which you have to read the written prompt and then understand what you are supposed to do and organize your thoughts, plan, and begin to speak. So make sure you use the time wisely and make sure you prepare adequately before you start speaking. Now, one thing that makes this type of question easy is that you will be looking at the question prompt right on the screen, even while you are speaking and recording. So that makes it easier. Make sure you focus on what you have been asked to do in the written prompt, okay? That actually will be very helpful to you to structure your speech in that way, okay? Then you need to actually make sure that you don't digress from the topic, stay on topic. And another thing is that you should use related vocabulary. If you are talking about singing, there are words associated with singing. If you are talking about football, there are words associated with football. If you are talking about computer operations, there are words that are relevant to computer operations. So make sure you choose the appropriate words, what we call register or vocabulary. According to Jonathan Swift, a notable English scholar, putting proper words in proper places is what makes you a professional, all right? So it's important. Then what else? You make sure you give examples where necessary, okay? Now let's move on to the next one, and this is listen, then speak. Everything I have said about read, then speak will apply to this, except that you are to listen instead of reading. So if you look at what you have on the screen, you are asked to speak the answer to the question you hear. And the audio sign there means that or on the test day, you have something you are going to click on, and then you listen to the audio and you hear what you are instructed to do. You can do this for 3 times within the little time you are given. You are given 20 seconds to listen and understand the oral prompt before you begin to speak and record yourself. So in this case, you need to use the time wisely, and then you make sure you understand what you are asked to do, and make sure you speak confidently. Make sure you position your face right within the camera. Look into the camera and speak confidently and speak fluently and avoid filler words, okay? Now let's go on to the next one, and this is the last but not the least. This is the speaking interview. This speaking question type is the ungraded question. It's known as ungraded because there will be no scores awarded to you, no marks awarded to you, in spite of your answer to this question. However, it is super important that you perform exceedingly well in this segment, because your speech is going to be recorded and is going to be sent to the university or institution that you are applying to. And that will give them some idea about the type of person you are and your level of proficiency in the use of English. And that is exactly a very, very important criterion for choosing to either approve or reject your admission application. So it's really important. Now, what do? Make sure you understand the nitty-gritty of this segment. Since a video recording of you and what you have said will be sent to the university, you must take this quite seriously. You are given 1 to 3 minutes to speak about the given topic. For example, here, you are told to speak about something, okay? So let me look at this. Studying a foreign language is required in some schools. Overall, do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? Explain your opinion. So this is an argumentative topic, all right? And so you have to be sure that you quickly organize your thoughts, because you are going to speak either for or against the topic. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And so you choose, you can quickly look at which side has, enough strong points that you can, argue convincingly. Now, this is about presenting your arguments in a very polite and yet very forceful manner. Okay, so it's important you use the little time you are given to think about it and plan. Now, this is also an opportunity for you to give the institution you are applying to some idea about how good you are in the use of English and about your personality as somebody who is positive, all right? Who is positive, who is well-meaning, who is intelligent, who is brilliant, all right? So this is your opportunity to showcase not only your language skills, but your personality. And what is important is for you to focus on the question prompt. Don't digress from what you have been asked to talk about and start beating about the bush. No, stay on topic and make sure you give examples where necessary. And that is exactly the way to go. So this is the last but not the least. And this is where we are going to draw the curtain in today's lesson. We have been talking about question types in the Duolingo English speaking, all right? And I hope I've done justice to this topic, walking you through the 5 different question types and showing you what to expect and what exactly to do. The aim of this training course is to equip you with all the tools and give you the best tips, tricks and strategies so that your confidence level will be raised exceedingly high. We want a situation where on test day, you enter the exam feeling extremely comfortable and confident because you know exactly what to do. So if you have any questions about what we discussed in today's class, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions, if you have any comments whatsoever, please leave them there, because it is good that we make the class interactive. And since the aim is to ensure that you gain the level of proficiency that will give you the maximum marks, the scores, your dream scores, then of course, you don't need to remain in the dark. Whatever is not clear to you, please ask questions about them, and I will give clarifications where necessary. I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Goodbye for now, and remain blessed.